king has said that he will acknowledge the painful aspects of the UK and Kenya's shared history and take time on the trip to deepen his understandings of the wrongs suffered by Kenyan people during the Mau Mau uprising against the British in the 1950s. But is it time for King Charles to go further and apologise to all those impacted by Britain's colonialist past? JJ.
Yes, but with a caveat.
What's the caveat?
The caveat is that he should address it, make the apology, and then leave it once and once for all. I don't expect him to do a world tour of every country that Britain's been involved with, because that's going to take 3-4 years.
But hang on a minute. If he goes to Kenya and apologises, and then he goes to another place and he doesn't apologise, they're going to say, well, hang on.
Don't do it in Kenya. Don't do it in Kenya. When you're back on home soil, put out a statement, put out a royal decree. This is what Prince Charles said.
Well, like a sort of a cover-all statement.
Yeah.
We apologise for anything we've ever done to anybody.
Yeah, exactly.
Is that not impersonal? Does that show an understanding?
This can't go on, though, can it? I mean, actually, they've already done a statement, the UK government did a historic statement of regret in 2013 and actually paid reparations.
Almost £20 million worth.
Yeah, I mean, my view is that Britain cannot go on around the world continually apologising for its past. Of course there are things that we shouldn't have done and that are matters of regret.
But the royal family haven't apologised.
You're right that a one-size-fits-all, carefully worded, sensitive statement that just says, once and for all, this is what we are sorry that this happened. And kind of, I don't want to say ticks that box because that sounds very dismissive, but in some way satisfies that yearning on the part of countries that are either still part of the Commonwealth or are very much part of countries where we want to have favourable and ongoing positive alliances with. So let us settle that now. Say sorry in the way that will make people feel that we've done the right thing, but not a continual drip, drip, drip everywhere we go, sorry, sorry, sorry for our past, because it isn't good for brand Britain apart from anything else.
Look, if Charles wants the royal family to last, he's got to look at Gen Z. The royal family are least popular with Generation Z. That generation is only growing. People over 60 love the royal family. That generation is only getting smaller. This apology will go to some length to helping Gen Z. And with the Commonwealth, it's crumbling. So many countries want to leave. He needs to address it once and for all and just say, this is, my family have benefited. We have made millions of pounds from it, and I'm sorry. Here's what we're going to do in the future.
But we've got to sell the positive reason to remain part of the Commonwealth. And so if all you're ever doing is going around apologising for the past, it's not really giving countries a reason to stay part of the Commonwealth.
OK, when he was still Prince of Wales, he says, to unlock the power of our common future, we must acknowledge the wrongs which have shaped our past. Many of those wrongs belong to an earlier age with different and in some ways lesser values. So he's made...
No, he hasn't said sorry.
That's the thing. He has not said sorry. And as we know, many of us, I'm sure at some point in our lives, have demanded an apology from someone and from someone to kind of go, well, I'm sorry if you were offended.
If you feel that way.
If you feel that way,
so
you ain't going to cut it. You want to hear, what are you sorry about? Tell me the specifics that you're sorry about so that I know that you're acknowledging my pain or my issue, my sorrow. And actually a blanket sorry is just not quite going to cut it, is it?
It's never going to go. I mean,
but what is wrong with, and again, sort of playing devil's advocate, what is wrong with everywhere you go saying, I acknowledge that we did some things in the past that were not right. I'm sorry about that, but I'm here to repair our future relationship.
It'll never be enough. You know, once you said sorry for this and that, and you go into details, you'll get another group saying, "But you didn't mention this," and on and on and on it goes.
I think he should say sorry for his family benefiting from slavery. I think he should say sorry for the way that Britain has treated some countries. But I don't think he should be going to every single individual country making these apologies. OK, but that go back to my point. Yes,
which is,
I know.
This blanket sorry, do you think that's going to alleviate the people who are looking for an apology? I mean, don't forget, from what we all understand, the royal family is there a soft power for the UK. You want it to build relationships. You want the king to go and continue this connection with the rest of the world, with the Commonwealth and the UK. And if he's not going to acknowledge their concerns, then
Well, then,
is he? Is,
then what I
is
would
that
do,
relationship going to happen?
What I would do then is send the lesser members of the royal family.
Okay.
Send the
Who are
lesser
they?
royals. I don't know.
Harry, Meghan?
Beatrice and Eugenie.
Beatrice, Eugenie, Andrew, if need be. Send the lesser ones on the royal tours and let them go. Let them go to the countries and make the apologies.
Says, sorry.
And then just for the major nations, Charles Camilla can go and make the apologies.
For the major nations.
For the major nations. Look, there's a hierarchy. Of course there is. I'm sorry, there is.
I don't think we can get past your idea of sending Andrew to say sorry. He can't even say sorry for his own behaviour.
Gosh.
Never mind his forefathers.
Let's find out what people are saying on social media. Diane on Twitter is saying, certainly not. How many times and how many people are going to keep apologising? Marion on Facebook says his ancestors were fully a part of it, so maybe on a personal level, yes, he should.
Look, I just don't think it's ever going to be enough. You said, well,
you say it's never going to be enough, but if he says, if he apologises in Kenya,
appeasing nations.
Hang on, saying sorry is appeasing them?
No, but I'm addressing your point, which is if he says a blanket sorry, that's not going to be enough, and these people are still going to be aggrieved. But we can't make it his main mission in life to deal with endless aggrieved people who are not satisfied by the apology that he's given. Okay. His role isn't to go around the world apologising.
OK, let's find out what people are saying at home. Nick in London. Nick, good afternoon. Do you think he should apologise?
Yes, good afternoon. I'm sorry, as much as I like the the views of this young lady, she's very intelligent. I would disagree on the basis that I think Prince Charles is a very honourable man.
King Charles, I think
we should
call him now. Yeah,
yeah, and he is like someone who, if he went around the world and said, "Look, my ancestors did something wrong," obviously there was issues. For example, in India, 2 million people died due to starvation during the colonialism. Then you've got $43 trillion of debt, which was stolen. All the stuff that was from there, like precious metals and stones and stuff. Mm-hmm. If you put them together, they come to about $43 trillion of current. Which should be, sort of apologized for. But more importantly, humanity that was sacrificed during that period. Same goes for Middle East and so on and so forth, which we are seeing at the moment. I mean, this Kashmir issue, for example, which nobody touches. There are people dying day in, day out, for example. But the thing is, this is done due to the colonialism. And right. I think the honorable thing would be Prince Charles. I think he's a very honorable person, and I think if he was to say, look, guys, we are very sorry my ancestors did this. I love monarchy. I think they are the greatest asset to this country. I think we are a very great country, and we can still be great, and we can, in the future, it can be even greater.
Nick,
the only thing is
Nick, can I ask a question for you, though? So, as I've suggested, he does one apology, and then we put it to bed. Would you be happy with him to do one apology, or do you think he should go to every individual place and repeat a different apology?
Well, put it this way. Look, Great Britain wasn't great. Great Britain wasn't great just because of one country. Unfortunately, they went all over the world, and they were accepted, with open arms and so on. So anywhere that happened, for example, in Africa, they put ruler on the table with a map underneath and said, right, we're going to cross these and make them into boxes and make them separate countries. I mean, why, that's the past, okay? That's happened. We had issues all over the world due to colonialism. We had, unfortunately, drugs being swapped for tea in China and so on, and introduced to drugs and things like that. So these kind of things, we need to apologize, especially to, for example, China. We introduced drugs to the country.
Nick, I'm going to pause you there because you've made lots of very, very good points, and I just want to squeeze a few more people on. But thank you for your call. Karima in Cambridgeshire. Good afternoon, Karima. What would you like to say?
Good afternoon. Yes, I'm Canadian born, but I'm also British and Jamaican. I have heritage, that is Commonwealth in all three nations. But I think that the point of this apology, it's important because it means that the monarchy actually acknowledges that a wrongdoing actually occurred. This is a separate conversation to reparations. That's a much more involved conversation. I think it starts with actually making the apology. Britain is happy to stand and acknowledge indignations around the world. The problem for Commonwealth countries or former colonies is the fact that without an apology, there's no sincerity and there's nothing meaningful behind it. And I do think that what the other presenter said in the red dress, sorry, I can't
Isable.
see my TV right now, is that that's very dismissive because, you don't say to people who suffer through the Holocaust, oh, you need to get over it. It's something that's remembered. And the people who've suffered through the Atlantic slave trade, which Britain is a lot of wealth is still is built on that, and there's still countries from the Commonwealth countries that are paying Britain, from those times.
Okay, Karima, just before, I know John's waiting to speak to us, so I'm going to come to you, John, in just a second, but just to ask you what JJ asked Nick earlier, if there was a sort of, and I think both Isable and JJ might agree on this, a sort of a cover-all type apology, we are very sorry for the pain and misery. No, that wouldn't do it for you?
No, it's Britain was able to take its fleets around the world to colonize nations. The monarchy travels around the world to do these state visits. They can take the time to visit each individual state and make their apologies. That would be sincere. And I absolutely think that one fits all does not work in this case.
Okay, Karima, thank you for that. Let's take another call. John in Cornwall. Good afternoon, John. Where do you stand on this? Should the King apologise? Should he be going everywhere he goes and say, look, we're sorry for what we did?
No, I don't think so. And I'd just like to briefly quote the famous novelist L.P. Hartley, who said that the past is a foreign country and they do things differently there. And I think that is so apposite. Because at the end of the day, there isn't a single person alive today in this country, including King Charles, who is responsible for what happened in the past.
John, that's a good point, but we only finished paying off the slave masters in Britain in 2015. I've been paying taxes towards people who own slaves. So have you. So have Isabel. So has Alexis. So it may have happened in the past, but in the present, we were still contributing towards that.
Really?
Yeah, the debt, we paid, I think it was 20 million at the time when we abolished slavery, but the debt was 40% of our GDP at the time, which meant in 2015 was when we actually finished off paying that national debt. So,
well, let's put it into context then. I think that the British Empire, compared to, say, the French Empire or the Belgian Empire, was pretty benign. Just to ask.
Well, now you're comparing who's less bad, John.
Well, no, hang on a minute. Why have we got so many countries, like India, for example, ex-empire, still part of the Commonwealth? It couldn't have been that bad. And I just don't think. Well, I just don't think that people today are responsible. Anybody alive today is not responsible for what happened in the past.
All right, John, you made that point. Quickly, Isabel, do you think John's got a point?
Well, I agree with him about people today's generation not being responsible.
Okay, but we're not talking about the generation. We're talking about the monarchy, and at the head of the monarchy right now is King Charles.
Yeah, but I've not changed my view, which is that you can't go around the world apologising to every country we colonised. I mean, we colonised about a quarter of the world. It's going to take the rest of his lifetime on a travelling tour to do that.
He's going to have something to do. Keep him busy. Thank you, John. Thank you all for your calls on this.